On this Fire Minute, we're going to go over a series of holes that Corey and Geof cut on a roof and some of the lessons that they had to share with you. So, Corey and Geof, what do you have for us?
I think Geof should take this one away.
Okay.
Well, so this was a pretty special day in history. A boy was born 32 years ago on this day, and he is cutting with a saw. It was one of the two of us, and I won't say who, but he's a pretty special guy.
He's the candle on the birth cake at this point?
So this fire was similar to the last one we talked about. However, as I was cutting, I really couldn't feel anything as far as rafters, and the saw was just moving really slow through the roofing material. Spoiler alert, it seemed as though it was not 1x6s but 2x6s tongue and groove, and afterwards we went back up and looked, and there were 6 layers of roofing material on top of each other. So it was pretty tough to get through, but it just was a good one for, again, once we got the holes cut, using our axes to open them up by pulling the decking off, and then even using hooks to J-hook all those 2x6s out of the way of the hole to open it up for the crew inside.
All right, Geof, so you end up cutting numerous holes. Go ahead and walk us through some.
The first one, I went to do that roll 2, cut 3, and as I was cutting, it was hard to tell. It was just the saw was moving slow. That roofing material was really thick, and I thought maybe I felt a rafter, so if I kind of thought maybe this is a rafter, I just rolled it and figured I could always fix it afterwards. Turned out it was. But after that, I just cut center rafter louvers because it was just so difficult to cut through. But we ended up cutting, I think, a total of 5 holes, and after the first one, I was cutting smaller holes and then just extending them.
Oh, hey, that's on audio. Okay. Right on. So the lesson here is don't do interviews right after lunch.
Let's keep that one.
All right.
The thing that was important to I learned from this was after I cut the first hole or two and I saw Corey was having a tough time getting through the roofing material, I figured I could probably put my saw down for a second and help him open up some of those holes. I'm not sure when that happened, but at a certain point I buried the saw into the roof and then started opening up one of the holes because there was a lot of work to be done and Corey was pretty gassed.
Smoked.
Yeah.
I wish I would have gone to using my axe way before, just because with how thick that roofing material was, and not being able to get the leverage or the power with that hook. It would have been much easier if I would have just pulled out my axe and started doing that instead.
Okay.
The biggest hazard was being so tired.
Yeah.
People say that a lot.
Yeah. So on that though, I mean, Corey, what was gas to you? Was it using the roof hook for as long as you did prior to using the pickaxe, or just the fact that there was so much work?
I just think it was just because there's so much work to be done, and just trying to get through all that material, and not trying to stop Geof from cutting his hole to come dice this one, trying to get it punched through on my own, and with it just being the roofing material just being so thick, it was just such a pain in the ass, and we ended up having to go back and dice anyway. So I mean, I think looking back, if you give it a couple good strikes and that's not working, instead of gassing yourself out, just have your partner take those couple of steps back and dice it real quick, and it makes everything so much easier.
Cool. So you said that there was 6 layers of roofing material over this?
There was 6 layers of the asphalt shingles.
Okay.
And then the decking underneath that, which was It didn't look or feel like 1x6s, but it looked like 2x6s that were tongue and groove. Don't quote me on that, but it's what it looked like after we went inside afterwards.
Yeah. Well, we can just go with that. So, what you're saying is,
don't tell me the address.
yeah. I mean, it kind of looks like 1x6, but I'm sure with you guys being gassed, it at least felt like 2x6 tongue and groove. I don't know. And that about wraps up this week's Fire Minute. Thank you, Corey and Geof, for sharing some good stuff to take away from that. And I hope everyone else enjoyed.